Hello folks, and welcome to Two Riders. Today we're going to look at the question, which is the best thermos? And we're looking at some thermoses that are a little bit older. Originally, for about the first 70 years that thermoses were being made, it was a double glass lined vacuum jar. So first we're looking at the glass lined thermoses. They were pretty prone to breakage, and in an attempt to kind of do an end around on that, Thermos and also Aladdin from Stanley eventually put glass liners with a thick plastic liner inside. By necessity, they had to be wide mouth, and we'll go into that a little bit later. And those lasted for a few years. But in '65, the first stainless steel liner thermos came out. It took a little while for them to get widely adopted because they were a little expensive. But this is stainless steel and stainless steel. So first off, I'd like to say please consider subscribing if this is of interest to you. Consider hitting like and making a comment. I always try to answer my comments. What I'm going to do is preheat all of these with hot tap water. It's going to be about 120 degrees. Let them sit for 5 minutes. That's what Thermos and Stanley recommended. 1, 2, 3, 4 Thermos, 1 Stanley, Aladdin. And Aladdin, if you remember the show, there we go, had a magic bottle. So Thermos bottle's a magic bottle. Keeps hot, keeps cold. Anyway, we'll fill them all up with hot tap water. Let them sit for 5 minutes, dump them out, and then fill them up with boiling water, simmering water. What I'm going to do is take the glass measuring cup over there. It's heavy glass. I'm going to preheat that so that the first thermos that gets filled doesn't lose any heat heating up the glass. Once I get them all filled, I'm going to do a quick measurement with the thermometer there. It runs from 120 degrees to 200 degrees. I guess it's a meat thermometer, maybe meat thermometer. And I'm going to cork them up. Let them sit for about 20 hours and check them tomorrow, and we'll see how much they lost temperature in each one. Hopefully they're going to be pretty close in initial temperature, but we're going to measure the change or the delta. So if it goes from 205 down to 160 and another one goes to 170, I'd consider that significant. If there's only a difference between 1 or 2 degrees, it's not a digital thermometer. I'll consider that not that significant. So we're going to get started. I'm not going to make you watch and wait while I fill them up with the preheated water, but I'll fill them all up. I'll just check them with the tap water, dump them out, check them with the boiling water. I'll be right back. Right to left. The first one is a glass liner with an outer plastic body. The hot water from the tap was 122, and it ranged from 122 to 118 across the board. So that was only in there for 5 minutes, dumped out. So starting with the boiling water, glass with the outer plastic body, 200. The one with the red top, the glass with outer steel body, went at 199. The little one, which I was calling a pint, actually holds a cup and a half. That plastic liner is pretty thick, and it takes up a lot of space in each of those two with the tan brown coating. So the cup and a half was at 196. The one to the left of that, number 4, that was only 3 cups, and that measured at 200 degrees. And then the stainless steel with stainless steel liner measured also at 200 degrees. So it is now 5 o'clock Friday night, and I'm going to let these sit as they are. I will probably check them at noon tomorrow, and that'll give 19 hours. The idea, in my mind, I use these mostly for outdoor activities. If you're going to go to a sporting event that's outside, summer, fall, winter, whatever, you might want to have iced tea in them. You might want to have hot coffee or hot cocoa, or you might want to just have hot water and then take powdered coffee or powdered Swiss Miss, something like that, and make whatever you want. Instead of having a whole thermos of coffee, if you've got people who aren't coffee drinkers, just put hot water in and make what you want. But if in cases of early morning trips out fishing or early morning trips out hunting, the the thing might be filled with hot water at 4:30 in the morning. You're probably going to be out till at least 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock that day. So you want a thermos that's going to hold something hot, really hot, for at least 12 hours. And if it can do it longer, longer is better, because you never know what you're going to face out there. You might get a delay. You might have to be chasing something down that you thought you had pinned down and got up and took off on you. So part 2 of this is coming up. Okay, folks, now we're at the final portion of the video where we're going to take the measurements of the temperatures. The first thing I want to do is just show you a little bit of brief video that I shot before I started filling these up. First off, I want to talk to you about the regular glass liner. The glass liner that is in this one is undone by unscrewing the bottom. On this one, you'd unscrew the top. But you can see it's double-walled glass, and then there's been a partial vacuum made on the inside. And with that, it stabilizes whatever's in the bottle so that the temperature shouldn't change. So that's the glass liner. The plastic liner is actually plastic and glass. You've got the wide mouth, and the reason for that is that if the glass was formed up around a tighter piece of plastic, when the glass broke, you'd never be able to get a replacement filler in there. But it's similar glass liner except wide mouth and with the plastic sleeve inside. So now let's get started with taking a look at some of these temperatures. So the first one we're going to look at is the glass liner inside a plastic body. Also, I want to show you that it is 1:39 the next day. It's a little bit later than I wanted to look at these, but I'm going to just pop that in there. It's a pretty quick read. We'll see how much it changed. It's right at about 148. See if it goes up anymore. I'm going to give it about 30 seconds or so. Doesn't seem like it's going to get past 150. I'm going to call this 149. It started off at 200, so it's a 51 degree difference. And these are all in Fahrenheit. All right, moving over to the next one. Take this out. It cools pretty quickly too, as you can see. It's dropping on down. So it does have a marking here. For centigrade, it looks like it would be 66 degrees centigrade. All right, try number 2. I'm guessing this is going to be a close result, but I don't know. So that's why we're doing the measurement. Let that go for about another 30 seconds. And I'm going to sprinkle in a couple of pictures while we're doing this. You can just take a look at some still shots. Surprisingly, this one, when it was started off at 199 degrees with the simmering water, and this one's only going to, I call it 142. So we're looking at a drop of 57 degrees. That's a little surprising. Now we'll go over to the what I thought was a quart, but it's actually a 3-cup plastic lined. That thick amount of plastic, even though they're using a body that's about the same as that at Thermos, the Thermos company, they gave up a lot of space. So this is cooled back down. We'll put it in, give it 30 seconds, see what we get. So I'm going to call the 6 degree difference there, I don't know, maybe noticeable to somebody who's drinking hot beverage or hot soup. Now, when I had one of these plastic lined ones, I always suspected that it didn't hold the heat as well as the old glass lined ones. When my glass lined ones, the last one that broke, it was almost impossible to find new liners. But that's been in over 30 seconds, and this one, 135. Pretty big difference. That started off at 200, so we're showing a drop of 65 degrees. The little cup and a half Aladdin, take a look. One thing you'll notice too is that all these have plastic cups, relatively thin walled. And you know, I never had a problem with the cups breaking. I had problems with the liners breaking. Let's take a look at the little cup and a half. Holy cow. This is incredible. It's cold to the touch. There must have been some kind of fail. Maybe well, there's no leakage, but something went wrong. I don't know. Maybe user error on my part, but that is showing, you know, the yellow is the part that would be measuring it, significantly below 120 degrees. So that one's pretty much a total fail. Very surprised. All right, last but not least, this is the late 1970s Thermos stainless steel. Thing about Thermos back in the day, it did not come with this carry handle. You had to buy that separately, and it hooks on kind of like a zip tie. It's sort of a one-way-ish thing as it goes through. You can manipulate it with a thin knife blade if you have to take it off. But all right, here we go. Let's see what we get. And instantly it's going up. I'll give it a full 30 seconds for the maximum and see what we get. Yeah, that 3-cup one, that was, or the cup and a half was it was definitely below 100. It was colder than body temperature. So it was probably about room temperature of the house, which is in the 70s for the last 24 hours. And now we are at just about 30 seconds. So what do we have? We have 147 degrees. You can see that. So 147, that started off at 200. So we're looking at a drop of 53 degrees. So 57 on this, 51 on that, 53 on that. So is it significant? I would say it's not as significant as I would have thought. The differences are not that far off. At the beginning of this, I was going to bet money that the glass liners were going to work better than the steel liner, and that's what I get for not having the facts in front of me. So we're looking at, like I said, 57 degree drop, 51 degree drop, 65 degree drop. Now that was significant, and 53 degree drop. Once again, 2 riders, thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something today. I learned something. And my preconceived notions have been changed. So learn something every day if you pay attention. Check back, hit like if you like it. Please consider subscribing. Thanks.